Hello. Hello. Excuse me. A little something caught in my throat there. Happy Sunday, guys. It is time for the Ropocalypse Now show. I think I'm going to go with that from now on. I'm going to call this show that we do on Sundays Ropocalypse, because it's my apocalypse. RO is the red work. RO stands for Rufus Opus, and I picked that because I thought it was really good Latin for the red work, and it was when I was figuring out what I wanted to do with my life as a magician, and I had studied a little bit about the great work, and I figured out that that was the phase where you're creating the Philosopher's Stone. So I picked RO as my magical motto because I thought that was important at the time. I still do. I think it's very important to have a clear goal for your magical process. You know, you incarnated here amongst us all. Thank you very much. At this time of struggle and stress, right? And it's a hard time to be alive, honestly. It's not a lot of fun, but it is what it is. And here you are. I'm grateful for that. So, yeah. All right. So, Luke's contra tenebras. All right. So anyway, back to RO. RO is like the red work. It's the process of transforming the base material of existence, or whatever it is you're trying to purify, into the Philosopher's Stone. And the Philosopher's Stone is it's the most purified, rarefied pieces of pure whatever. You know, it's got the animal stone, the vegetable stone, the mineral stone. Some people say you have to purify all three of those first and then combine them in a certain way to create the Philosopher's Stone. You can see that as sort of a metaphor for your own self if you want. I am into the esoteric practice of the red work, and I picked that as my motto because it seemed pretty unattainable. And I think having attainable goals is important in life for your practical life and your practical experiences. But in magic, you're supposed to be able to accomplish the supernatural. You're supposed to be able to go beyond what is normally attainable. You're supposed to be able to tap into that bigger, greater, more miraculous side of things, you know? That's what magic is for, right? So, yeah, so anyway, you're supposed to have like some kind of goal with your magic. That's what your motto is supposed to express. It's why you're doing this thing, right? And cont'd tenebras was a famous motto amongst the Golden Dawn, or the early Crowleyites. I don't really remember for sure. Let's see, I've got that over there. I got to close out a bunch of stuff over here in case I share my screen. Because I will forget. All right, so yeah, so we're trying. The goal of the great work is to create the Philosopher's Stone, which when you create it, you then grind it up, and then you powder it, and then you sprinkle it in water, and then you go out and you heal the sick, and you bring wisdom to the ignorant, and you show the path to health and joy again. Because one of the main things it's supposed to cure is melancholy. Melancholy is what they called it back then. It was the depression, the nihilistic urge that was even amongst us back then to give in, right? To give into the darkness and give up, you know, because life sucked. I was watching The Northman the other day. Really great. I liked it a lot. Very, very historically accurate film. Is pretty gross in a lot of ways, but at the same time it is pretty accurate, I think, historically to what was going on. And these people were just being taken as slaves, and just their lives were being brutalized by these raiders who were doing it for glory and to be, and just honestly just to be jackasses. You know, they didn't have to do that. They could farm, but they didn't want to do all that. So they just went and took other people's stuff. So that's what they did. For whatever reasons. I'm sure they had their own reasons for it. It seemed like a good idea to them. But it was brutal. It was a brutal life, you know. And I'm looking at what's going on in Minneapolis, and with my kids, and I worry, you know. but it's not nearly as brutal as what they've faced before, what we've faced as human beings before. And as dark as times are, I think it's important to remember that it's our desire to be civilized that keeps us from being barbaric, right? And as bad as things are right now, it's not as barbaric as it could be, as it might get, you know. And I think it's time to lower our standards and our expectations, to be quite honest. I'm not saying it's going to get that brutal or whatever, but just it might, you know, and that's just part of it. It's just important to remember that there's no guarantee of it not going that way, you know. So let's not pretend that everybody's is gonna pull back at the last minute. Nobody's holding their punches, you know. You just got to be prepared to be hit, is what I'm trying to say. But as magicians, guys, like, the point of the great work is to bring that stone that you've made, you grind it up and you powder it, and you bring it to those situations, right? Like, I just expressed something pretty gross, right? I'm trying to prepare us to be ready to heal and to bring the light to that darkness, okay? Because that's the darkness that we're up against. That's the brutal nature of human beings, you know? And I like to pretend that everything is going to be fine, right? Because I do believe everything is going to be fine. Honestly, I think we're going to be okay eventually. I think that right now we're going through some crap, but it's something to be concerned about. Realistically, it's not something to let destroy your good time, okay? I'm not trying to, I mean, honestly, everybody's trying to kill our good time right now. But there's a way to have a good time even through the apocalypse, even through the Armageddon or whatever it is. And in my opinion, that is by fulfilling what we're here to do, okay? We came here to make the stone, right? We're trying to make the stone regardless of whether we can do it on our armchairs comfortably under a nice laissez-faire capitalistic illusion of happiness. That was great for while it lasted, but regardless, we're still here to make the stone. And now the stone is going to be needed for even more realistic purposes, okay? Like, we are here to heal the world, right? Well, guess what, guys? There's going to be a lot of things that need to be healed in our lives, right? We are going to be the light against the darkness. That's why we've got this magic. You know, I mean, it's like we are here to deal with this kind of thing, and now we actually have to deal with that kind of thing. Right? It's not just an idea, okay? It's on the streets right now. They need the stone right now. You know, it's not something that you can sit there and be like, well, I'm going to get started on that right now, and maybe in 40 years I'll be able to help heal the world. You know, maybe you can do that. But the fact is right now they need it. You know, right now. You know, and it's up to us, okay? I mean, nobody else is going to do it. So it's really important that you do the work, that you're doing your work. You know, you got to do your part, right? It's just how it is. We have to do our part, you know, and our part as magicians is to heal the world, right? It needs it, okay? Right now, I was looking at the sky in astrology, because I don't understand astrology, but I want to wrap my head around this stupid, like, I don't even believe in the outer planets because they're so far away, they have such little effect on things. But the fact is that when Saturn and Uranus are conjoined the way, or I guess they're sextile right now, I don't know, but the way it is has historically come with all kinds of revolution and pain and suffering, and it's not a good time. But it's a good time to be a healer. You know, you're gonna have lots of practice, but it's not a great time to just kind of sit around and buy a boat, you know, and just live the good life. It's not the good life right now. So yeah. So anyway, I want to encourage people. I've got a bunch of free classes and stuff on my site. They take you through the 7 spheres initiations, right? That takes you through the process. I'm happy to help anybody that needs it. It talks about how to conjure spirits, and my method is a method. It's not the only method, okay? But mine's pretty generic, and you can adapt it to your belief systems pretty readily. Okay, it's not that hard. It taps into pre-Christian, pre-Socratic belief systems. I believe, and it's very a universalist approach to things. The techniques will give you the skills that you need to do the conjuring, to do the magic, to create your own version or your own, to create the Philosopher's Stone your way. Okay, your path to it might be different than mine, right? But this will give you the skills that you need. So take the time to do these free classes. Immerse yourself in it and apply the heat. Okay, it's Sunday, guys. It's the solar day. It's time to shine, right? And that's how we're going to cure this ill, is by healing ourselves first and the rest of the world next. Okay, that's what we got to do. Okay, and hang on just a second. All right, I had to turn off a timer. But if I hadn't, it would have been a problem. But so I had to use the she who shall not be named. I had to call on her, and when I did, last time without muting it, I turned off someone's kitchen or something, so I didn't mean to do that. So anyway, yeah, so this is kind of a heavy one, I guess. I'm being kind of very serious today, and I want to be a little bit lighter about it, because it's not like this is I guess there's always going to be a very positive side to everything that I do. I am thrilled to be alive. I hate that darkness exists in this world. I am he who hates that evil is done upon the face of the earth, right? I am that. I've always been that. You guys are too. If you can say that out loud when you do the headless rite, I am he who hates that evil is done in this world. If you can say that out loud without laughing at yourself or feeling like if you get that, you get it. All right, you're part of the great work. You're already doing it. Okay, and that's what this is. This is evil on the face of the earth, and I hate that. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to hate evil. Yeah. Anyway, it's important that we do this. It really is. It's really important, and it's not going to be fun, right? But it is going to be fulfilling. It's going to feel so good to fix things, to fix this. All right. I want to talk a little bit about. So that's the theme of Luke's Contra Tenebras, and that's going to be my theme for probably a little bit here, at least through the end of March. No, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take, but for a little bit. Where is this? All right, here. Let me turn this off. Oh, I'm supposed to do my occult money thing. So this is something I'm trying to do. Please visit my site and buy my stuff. It's all there to help us. Everything that's on my site is there to enable and empower. It really is. Like, all my classes are free though. Okay, all the classes and information that I can provide you are free. I charge for services where I have to spend time on it personally, and I charge for the stuff that I make. Right, pretty much that's about it. I do, if you want consultations one-on-one time, where if I have something else I need to be doing, yeah, I'm going to charge you for it. But it's for the most part, most of my stuff is the good, the best parts are all free. Okay, and all my equipment that I sell, you guys can make them yourselves too. It's not like you have to buy it from me to be effective, or anybody else who makes them. Right, paper talismans are empowering and cleansing. They help. They aren't made in the right metal and the right hour. You have to make them the right hour and the time and the right day. That's the key, right? But it's the magician that does the magic with the symbols and what they mean. Okay, and that's the great work. You're the subject of the whole process that moves through the heat, through the phases, through the aspects of purification. Okay, you're the one that gets better, right? And that's what we're doing. That's what we're here for. You know, that miasma that we feel in our day-to-day lives, it's not from, it's from being thwarted. Our whole lives, our whole experience has been thwarted one way or another by people who shouldn't be able to do that. The thwarting power, the power that thwarts every little girl and every little boy and every other gender when they're young, right? The thwarting power is a miasma. It is a cloud of darkness that takes your pure energy, right? If you think about when in the Corpus Hermeticum, we descend through the seven spheres. Let me turn off the money thing here. I already said the money part. All right, so Emerald Tablet, right? When we descend through the spheres, we get. Are they all the same picture? They're all the same picture now. Oh, because I'm not doing the right one. That's why. All right. So when we descend through the spheres, the seven spheres, these are all AI generated. Okay. So the Emerald Tablet talks about it. You know, that which is below is like that which is above, you know. Where is it? The sun is its father, the moon is its mother, the wind carries it in its belly, the earth is its nurse. The father of all perfection is here, right? Anyway, it says, this talks about the Philosopher's Stone. But the Corpus Hermeticum talks about it, and I should have just talked about that here. You know, I'll pull it up. But the Corpus Hermeticum talks about how we descended through the here it is. Here it is. See, it pays to be predictable sometimes. All I had to do is type POE and it pulled up Pymander right away. Okay, so the divine Pymander from Hermes Trismegistus, right? So it talks about how the spirit comes down into heaven and gets all power. Oh, hang on a second. Okay, sorry about that. We had some pork in the oven, and I didn't pull it out 20 minutes ago when I was supposed to. So, anyway, so the spirit of man, the human being, all people, workman, mind, circulation, earth and water, and enamored of his own form, creation of workman as a whole, blah, blah, blah. Here. So here it is, verse 18. By the way, if you ever want to like quote things chapter and verse, the divine Pymander is fun for screwing around with people. So, divine Pymander, chapter whatever, verse 18. The father of all things, the mind being life and light, brought forth man, humankind, like unto themselves, whom they loved more their proper birth, right? All beauty, having the image of their father, right? So indeed, God was exceedingly enamored of his own image. This was Zeus the head, by the way. So Zeus the head made everybody in his own image, and went down. And the first human, seeing and understanding the creation of the workman, was all enamored of the world of creation. So having all power, he considered the operation or workmanships of the seven, but they loved him, and everyone made him partaker of his own order. So this is a thing where it talks about all seven spheres, the governors of the seven spheres loved the first human, and they gave us all on our descent the seven powers, right? So when we're born, little people are given, have all these powers, you know, and when they're let shine and they're encouraged to shine, they develop them and become little creators, little engineers, little inventors, you know, little people who become intelligent, wise, strong adults in theory, right? But instead, what happens is people who have a darkness on them pass that darkness that they received onto their children, right? And it dims the shine, right? That's how we're putting it today in our memes. But what it does is it creates a miasma, a spiritual darkening of your spiritual lenses, and right? And you've got these lenses. They're like chakras, right? Where's my chakra thing? All right, so like it's like the chakras, right? You've got these 7 spheres, 7 powers inside of you, these energy spheres of power that resonate inside of you, and they're all overlapping, and it looks like one big sphere, and that's your magical sphere of influence. But the nice thing about the chakra images is that it's a nice way to look at it and think about it, right? 7 spheres of power, right? It's a nice way to think about it. I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but I do think that that's a useful model too. But yeah, so you've got these powerful spheres, but they've all been covered by this darkness of this world. And why do we have darkness, right? Excuse me. My theory, and this is based on just economics, is that the people who are in power, and that's a very small number of people, we all know they call them 1%, but really it's like 5 families, who control all the power in the world, and they're basically, all of the power structures are designed to siphon the resources. Hold on just a moment. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I should have waited to do this until later, but that's okay. So little people have these clear energy spheres inside of them, shining bright. This miasma is put over us by society and culture, and in my opinion, it's to take our resources from us and our lives and our attention and our energy and our awareness and focus it on them instead, right? And what they want you to do is pay attention to them. And I was thinking about why anybody would want this, because it's not just our money, right? It's not, I mean, mostly it is. It's resources so that they have, I don't know, the feeling of being in control. I guess that's all. I can't really imagine why people would want to do this, but they do. It's obviously there. You can see the structures. So I don't understand the why of it. I think they're just not very happy, honestly. But there's plenty for everybody. Right? There's no reason that only 5 families should control so much, you know, or the 1%. There's no reason. It's not fair, you guys. And the whole structure is set up so that everything we do makes them more and us less. And you can see it in our economy right now, you know, and these powerful people have been raised up. And it's because of where the stars are right now. You know, there's this astrological crap going on that's drawing out the worst in people, right? And when I say that, I'm talking about, you know, little baby Donald Trump was born with 7 perfect spheres that were holy and blessed and presenting this pure light, and a miasma was put over him by someone when he was young, right? Someone got to him too. Okay? That's just how it is. And they got to him and they turned him into the man that he's become. Right? And that man resonates with this Saturn-Uranus conjunction and raises him up as a populist autocrat or whatever, right? Which is fine. What just happened? Oh, it went, the sun must have set. Everything went dark. I'm like, what? Okay, so, yeah, so the stars are aligned to draw out the goon squads in our populace, to draw out the problem people, you know, the ones that are getting too much power and using it to harm one another, right? And it's honestly, it's on the left and the right. You know, the mobs of the left are going to be just as frightening to a normal sane person as the goon squads on the right. You know, I'm looking at this stuff, I'm like, holy crap, that's going to suck, you know? But the thing is it's a function of this miasma, and it's this miasma that's being empowered by these malefic conjunctions with the mindsets of humanity. Uranus Uranus and Saturn and Pisces, and it's moving into Aries. I was looking forward to it moving on and being like, we're free, everybody, we can go back to normal, and it's not. It's going into Aries in March. Everything it's keeping the conjunction going right into Aries. Oh boy. That's why I'm more doom and gloom today than I was before. I was hoping that everything would just like get better and get better, but it looks like it's gonna get different and just be more aftermathy faster is what I expect. Like hopefully it ends up with like little city states with people with respect for one another trying to build things back up again, and it's going to take time. It's going to take decades and decades to get back to where we were 2 years ago. And it's just, you think about that sometimes and it's like, wow, that is incredible, if we even end up like that again. And that was a highlight of technology on the planet. Not for everyone. There's a reason that the empires fall. This is not a bad thing historically. Like, this is always it comes after bad things had been done for a long time to a lot of people. It sucks along the way for a lot of people, and I'm not trying to minimize the pain that's going to come from this, but at the same time, it's been hurting people the whole time, right? It's not like the pain didn't exist 2 years ago. The suffering that is moving, oh my gosh, into white people's world, that's been there for brown people, folks. It's been there for 40 years, 60 years, 200 years. It has not gotten that much better for them, right? Even though it's better for us, I say that, but globally, the lifespan of human beings has gotten better for everybody. So, I mean, it's not like it could be worse, Hopefully we keep enough of our medical information going as a society. And I don't really think this is a breakdown of society. I think it's going to be just a massive change, But I hope it's more fair when we put it back together. And especially, which gets back to my point, LVX CONTRA TENEBRAS. You guys, this is what we're here for, is to make sure that when it gets put back together, it's put back together right and better, for people, right? The light has to fight against the darkness. We have to be the light that shines down into this world. Okay, this is why it's important to do the initiations, to do the purifications, to deal with your shadow side, right? And I don't mean like be perfect, okay? God forbid that I set some kind of stupid standard here. It's not about being perfect. The Philosopher's Stone doesn't require perfection of you. I mean, you are perfecting yourself. But what it takes is healing people. That's how you know you got it. That's how you're doing it, right? That's how you're doing it right. Is when you're healing people, right? When you're bringing healing to the world in spite of your pain and suffering, for example, right? While you deal with your pain and suffering. That's brilliant. That's awesome. You're doing it, That's the Philosopher's Stone. The thing is that it's not violent. It's just healing, right? And we do it by stopping the fight, right? Peace is when you quit fighting, and that doesn't mean you give in. You just stop fighting about it. You don't have to fight. You don't have to lose. You don't have to fight. We're magicians, right? So we do magic, and we do magic to stop fighting. We don't do magic to win. Okay, that's not what we're here for. Sorry. We're here to bring victory to people, right? Not in a contest between left and right. The victor is peace. The victor is change. The victor is illumination, right? That's the victory, is when intelligence and awareness and presence and honest respect and communication for one another, being kind, starts with us to people we don't like, right? That's peace. Not giving in to them, but being nice about it, right? Being kind. That ends the fight, right? And I'm not saying sit there and get punched. Jesus will fall into that. Defend yourself if you need to. Do the right thing in the moment. You're not me. I'm not telling anybody what to do. This is all what I think. This is in my opinion, you guys, based on my experiences. But I would like to hasten the work for people. The things that we're doing with magic, I think, are important and needed in the world, okay? And especially when we are working on ourselves, because I think it really does purify everybody around us. So, and honestly, I believe that includes making sure that you have the financial stability in troubled times to not be kicked out of your house, right? Or lose your car or whatever. You should be able to take care of yourself financially. So that's why I think that wealth magic is important. If you don't have a Bune spirit pot, build one. It's a Thursday thing. I usually have a Bune seal somewhere. But anyway, his seal is pretty easy to make. I wonder if I have. Anyway, I'll see if I can't find one. But yeah, take care of yourself and take care of your finances and take care of your family and take care of your emotional needs and your mental health. Okay, like Nicole did the sound thing last night, the Hermetic harmonization. It was great. Usually after she does the sound therapy thing on me, or if I participate in the Hermetic harmonization, which of course I have to, the sounds impact me, right? I'm feeling it, you guys, and it's great. And afterwards I have a few days where I'm mentally clear again, like I don't have bipolar. And it's great. I love it. I can have a full conversation, and I don't get to do that unless, back in the day I drank a lot, and that kept me coherent, right? I thought. It kept me oblivious to a lot of trouble, but it's great. Sound therapy. Find yourself a way to take care of yourself and find your moments of peace. The sad thing is that nothing is permanent in the world. We don't get to have a great society for everybody. For some reason, somebody always seems to be suffering. I don't know why. It's not my fault. If we do get to rewrite the Constitution around some Hermetic principles, I think that would be great. Where we leave one another alone and pursue and mind thy business. That kind of thing. But yeah. So yes, it's hastening the work, right? Knowing yourself faster. Oop, not that one. Right, so those who know themselves are going to be able to do all things, basically, is what that says. Here it is. All right, planetary talismans. So let me find the right one here. We got. Oops, that's the wrong one. Here we go. Cassiel. All right, Cassiel is the archangel of Saturn. Earlier today, a friend of mine said something about being new to past lives, which I thought was weird, because I thought this whole time that he had remembered his past lives, and he doesn't. He doesn't remember his past lives. I'm like, oh. But past lives are a useful tool to understand some Hermetic principles about life in general. Zeus the head, Zeus the middle, Zeus the all in all. What the Dervani manuscript said about the Orphic mystery tradition that I got that phrase from was that after being initiated, you did not fear death. It's because you understood something about existence that you didn't understand before. When you die, you don't really die. You die in a different way than you think. Okay, and I can attest to this. Well, whatever. I can't prove anything, so it probably sounds crazy. Never mind. I'm not going to test anything crazy. Yeah, no. But the fact is that death isn't what we think, right? And it's a transition, and people say this all the time. It's a different state of being. Mediums can talk to the dead because the dead don't die the way we think they do. They just change, okay? And if you pay attention to your Saturn initiations and do your Saturn initiations and understand sort of, if you work with Cassiel or Cronus is actually a really great teacher. Like, I thought he would hate me because I'm all into Zeus and stuff. Of course not. Cronus was emerged from Zeus as well. So obviously not going to be a problem. But the darkness, hang on just a second. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so anyway, where was I? I was talking about the purification. Oh, Cassiel. Okay, right. Okay, so the dead aren't as gone as people think, right? So anyway, they're still around, and they're able to be communicated with. And if you have an ancestor practice, you know what I'm talking about. It's not, they aren't dead. You know, they're certainly present in our lives and influencing everything we do. And yesterday when I was talking about the Picatrix mirror, Pika, the Picatrix mirror it gives you power over the dead according to its descriptions, and what that means is it is able to capture the images of the remnants of those who have passed in the astral realm and present it to the person who's working with it. So that's one of the reasons that it's a useful tool. But anything, you know, any of your, like, I have a table of practice over here that works just fine. This is actually the first box I ever made that had a light that lit up. Cigar box one. I still have it. Anyway, but yeah, a table of practice works just fine to conjure the spirits of the dead. Just like if you use the Trithemian art of drawing spirits into crystals, it's spirits. It's not just angels, although angels are a type of spirit that can be drawn into a crystal. So are demons, so are genius loci, right? It's all part of the same thing. So it's a method to be able to communicate with the energies and the essences, the powers, the personalities, whatever it is you want to think about them as, of those who have passed, right? This includes your own past lives, right? So if you want to understand your past lives and your experiences of existence, you can tap into that at any time through the powers of Saturn. Okay, Saturn and the moon are you can imagine those two together would be a great way to dream the right dreams and see the right visions. But this is how you can tap back into those things. And what you want to do if you want to tap back into these things is you don't have to like remember all it. So it became real popular to have past lives when I was about a junior in high school. And all of a sudden everybody had past lives, and Dion Fortune was going around, so people were sea priestesses or priestesses of Egypt or priestesses of the Celtic thing. The Celtic thing was real big amongst the nerds that I was a nerd with. Yeah, so Celtic priestesses and all this stuff, you know, were very popular to be. So I'm not talking about faddish, stupid things like that. You don't have to, and I say stupid things like that, but that's because some of it was obviously just make believe, you know, but then there were people who just had remembrances that were just like of everyday Celts, you know, and I was like, yeah, that's at least plausible, you know, more likely, because there were a lot more everyday Celts than there were priestesses. I don't think they even had a priestess class. I'm not sure. Whatever, they might have. I know that the Wiccans of the 90s definitely thought they did. Anyway, the the power of the past life experience, though, like in practical, like more down to earth ways, is not in remembering who you used to be. It's not an ego thing. The only thing that you want from your past lives today is the clarity to pursue the great work better, so that you can create the stone faster, right? To be able to manipulate the forces that we want to manipulate, to be the magician that we want to be, so that we can heal the world faster, so we can purify ourselves, purify our lives, purify the people around us, or give them an opportunity to see what light looks like, you know, and reflect that back into the world. You know, I had this moment of understanding yesterday about some stuff, and I appreciate having that moment, because it reminded me of a lot of things, right? And the reason that we're here is to destroy the darkness. It's not just a philosophy. It's not some supernatural weird dream. It's not make believe. It's not a fairy tale. You know, it's not this may all beings attain enlightenment. It's not that. It's we're here to heal the world, right? And destroy the miasma that is put over us, right? And that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do with this magic that we're doing, you know, and we're going to do it in our lifetimes. It's just how it is. That's what we're here to do. So anyway, if you do this thing, if you want to tap back into your past lives, read the Orphic hymn to Saturn, conjure Cassiel and the let's see, over here I think I have them, Cassiel and let me see, where is it? This one should be, there we are. Amaliel, Anakiel, Arakia, and Anazakia. Those are the 4 spirits of the Key of Solomon Pentacles. So like you read through the Orphic hymn to Saturn, and then you, I think I actually have it. The Orphic hymn to Saturn. And then you basically say something along the lines of, where is it? Okay, yeah. So you conjure, you read the Orphic hymn to Cronus, and then you conjure Cassiel and the 4 spirits, and you say something like, Cronus, I ask that you send now your spirit Cassiel. By his name and his seal I call him forth. And the 4 spirits of the pentacles of Saturn, Amaliel, Anakiel, Arakia, and Anazakia, come now from wherever you may be and appear before me in this crystal. Right? And when you feel their presence, and you will, they are very heavy and dense, right? And if you've done your initiations, you know what I'm talking about. Ask those spirits to bring you back the wisdom, skill, and knowledge of your past lives that you need for this one to accomplish what you have to do, right? What your desires are, right? And I'm not telling you what your desires are, but that's what you do. And that's a way to get back in touch with not just who you are now, but who you have been, and all the experiences that you've been through leading up to this particular incarnation. Okay, and that's a useful tool for people who are feeling overwhelmed by this miasma. Okay, and it's a quick way to speed up this whole process, because you aren't drawn to this because you've never done it before. All right, this is advanced magic. This isn't Sunday school. Okay, this is much bigger than most people get into in their spiritual lives. All right, you're taking direct authority over invisible forces to change the world. Okay, and that's what we're doing as magicians, and that's not light work, right? You know, it's few and far between, but we're the ones that make the stone, right? And we're here to heal the world with it. Okay, and we do that by shining, and it's not hard. It's not hard to do. It's just keep doing the work. It's just keep doing the work, you know, and trust yourself. All right, you're not stupid. Okay, your impulses are valid. Your desires to fix things are coming from somewhere higher, all right, different, you know, than we think. Okay, there's all kinds of evidence in neurology and in EKGs that shows that our thoughts don't come from us, right? They come from inside of us, right? But before we're even thinking it or aware that we're thinking it, it's already activated that part of our brain. So we're already thinking of things before we become aware of it, right? It takes seconds, or tenths of a second, I think. Anyway, it takes a measurable amount of time before people are aware of the fact that they're having a thought. That's normal. That's normal for us, right? I mean, it's coming from our brains. I'm not saying it's coming from some mysterious, well, it is coming from a mysterious force. It's coming from these electrical impulses that we've had running through every human being and every form of life since the first mitochondria merged with the first rest of our cells and started transferring its energy out to everything else. That electricity, the bioelectric force that is generated in our cells, has been a constant current running through bodies for millions of years, you know, and that electrical current is where all of everybody's thoughts come from. That's where it all comes from. And this is just biology. This isn't hokey fucking this isn't hokey old religion here, you know. It's not. It's this, I mean, it is, but it's just science too. It's the same thing. You know, this idea that Zeus consumed the source of the universe and reproduced it in his own image. Okay, this Nobel physicist was studying the background microwave radiation and found that it was most likely the remnants of the previous universe before the Big Bang. And it's not like for years everybody thought it just came out of nowhere. This guy is suggesting that it was actually the end of the previous cycle and the beginning of the next. So like there was a big crunch and then a big bang, and a big crunch and a big bang, right? And every time the universe explodes, you know, and comes back together, there's this residual microwave radiation that continues to influence the formation of the new universe. The mathematical principles from the previous universe might have been slightly different than here, but the echoes of it fucking vibrate with the new universe forming, and it explodes again, and it has the remnants of the previous math integrated into it in the same way that Zeus the head, who after he consumed the phallus of the creation of the universe, reimagined the universe through his own experience and presented it to these fucking ancient pre-Socratic philosophers. It's the same fucking story. We're telling the same story, you guys. And this story says that you and me are here to purify ourselves so that we can do magic and create the Philosopher's Stone, so we can heal the fucking world that obviously fucking needs it, right? LVX CONTRA TENEBRAS, you guys. We are the light against the world, all right? So hop on that shit. Take care of ourselves, right? We need to, all right? Take care of ourselves. Anyway, that's it for the show today. All right, take care. I will see you guys in a little bit. Oh, King Asanoki, no. I have so much King Asanoski. I have so much stuff that I have to do. And that includes like writing books. I'm so far behind myself, but I just haven't had the time to bring my digital footprint up to date with all of my latest understandings and applications of what I've been doing. But it's all in process, and hopefully over the next year or so, I should have things rolled out in a better way. But right now, my website does have all the stuff you need to go through the 7 spheres and do all that stuff. But yeah, more on that to come over the next couple weeks probably. So before February 1st, I hope to have a better organized approach to the great work, accomplishing it in a reasonable amount of time, and how to actually start tapping into things. But today I wanted to talk about using the Saturn gate to materialize your the skills and benefits of your past life. And if you have 7 spheres, the Saturn right in 7 spheres is what I'm talking about. Oh, it's gone. God damn it. Somebody wanted me to sign a book, and I bought 2 books, and I was going to sign it and send it to them. But anyway, the Saturn part. Read through the 7 spheres Saturn part if you don't have anything else of mine to work with. It's just as effective. It's the Orphic Hymn, it's the archangels of the planet, right? And you ask them to give you the power of your past lives. That's all you're asking for, and it's just, that's your statement of intent. Return to me the wisdom, power, and understanding of all my past incarnations, and just saying it out loud, it takes 10 minutes. It's not hard. Accept this offering of smoke and of fire, light a little tea light candle and an incense stick. Say the Orphic Hymn, conjure the spirit. Accept this offering of smoke and of fire. Cassiel, put me in touch with all the powers, skills, knowledge, and experiences of my past lives so that I can better accomplish the work in this one. As you came in peace, so go forth in power. The end. You've done the whole thing, and you're walking away smarter, better, wiser person, ready to receive things, right? And another thing, you guys, start telling yourselves that you're better than you think you are. And I mean it. Like, tell inside, the thing inside, that you understand that it's been told that it wasn't that great. But just tell it, listen, I know you think that, but it wasn't true. You're actually a lot more important than you thought. Because you are. All right? You didn't get called to this shit because you're just a fucking peon. All right? You're not a peon. You're a magician. Nobody's watching this shit that isn't a magician. I'm pretty out there. This is not normal, right? So you're not crazy. You're supposed to be doing stuff. So go to rufusopus.com, or anybody else who's teaching this stuff. Anybody who's teaching the Hermetic path towards understanding who you are, so that you can attain all the powers that you were born with. It's not stuff that you're getting from outside of yourself. It's stuff you were born with that was taken from you by these assholes, right? You have a miasma problem, right? And it shows up as your evil thoughts, your evil inclinations. That's an expression of the darkness that was done to you. Okay? If you find yourself doing villain shit, it's because villains were villainy to you, right? And you forgive yourself, not them. Fuck them. You forgive yourself so that you can be like, oh, the only way out of that is to stop. And then you stop doing it and you do better. And you be nice and you be kind and you be firm and you don't be a pushover about it, but you stop being evil, and you don't worry about other people being evil. Stop worrying about them and just be good. Right? And it's hard. It's hard. But, and that's the thing, is you clear your miasma, and it just has more light that impacts everybody else. And it drives away the people who want to cling to theirs. But it draws to you the people who want to burn it off and be better. Okay? It really does. And it's amazing, because once you get enough people around you that are also doing it, oh my God, it feels great, and it builds momentum. So anyway, do the work, guys. Do the work. All right. Take care. I will talk